Hello, my beautiful people. So I'm back with you with the New Beginners Bible Study. As I stated in my last video, I tried to do a live stream. I did the live stream and I uploaded, but I accidentally deleted. So I have decided the Lord just let me I'm gonna do the video until I get used to the live stream. And so I know how to work the live stream. I'm gonna go and try to learn how to work it so I know. So I won't be accidentally pushing no buttons. But and I'm reading from my New Beginners. My New Beginners, it was a New Beginners book, and when I was in the New Believers class. And so the Lord had just been leading me to share topics from the New Believers class with you all to help you on your journey, with walking with Him. And it's not just for new believers, it's for those of you who've been, if you've been saved for quite a while, if you've been saved like over a month or two, this video is for you too. Whoever, you just happen to stumble across this video. I just pray that it blesses you, And I do have a playlist. I have a playlist for it's titled New Beginners Bible Study. So those are all the Bible study topics that I did. So you get a chance, you can go back, you can watch that video. But today's message is on stewardship, tithes, and offering. And I'm reading from this book, and I got my life application study Bible. And also I have my because I think some of my notes there are not in that study Bible. And then I have my Life in the Spirit study Bible. So I'm gonna be switching books. So and so there's gonna be a couple of scriptures that I'm going to be reading from. We're going to be reading from Luke. We're going to be reading from Malachi, 2 Corinthians, and Genesis, and Matthew. So and I am going to put the scriptures in this put the scriptures down in the description box, so you can go back and you can write the scriptures down, because I just think that's probably a reason why the Lord wanted me to do it live, is so when I'm going through the scriptures, you can just be writing them down, and if you need to ask me what they, I can tell you again. So, but I'm just gonna put it down in the description down below. In the Lord's will, your girl, I'm gonna get better at the live thing. I'm gonna do it again. It's not gonna be, that's not it with me. I'm gonna do it again. So, but right now, because I really need to get this video, get this video out to you all. And so we're gonna first go to Luke. We're gonna be reading Luke. And it says, give and it shall be given unto you. This is Luke chapter 6, verse 38. And I'm going to flip to Luke from my study Bible and tell you what that verse is talking about. Luke chapter 6, verse 38. And what that verse is saying is, a forgiving spirit demonstrates that a person has received God's forgiveness. Jesus' word reflect measure. Gain is a basic to ensure the full amount. If we are critical rather than compassion, we will also receive criticism. If we treat others generously, If we treat others generously and compassion, however, these qualities will come back to us in full measure. We are to love others, not to judge them. So, be a cheer when you give. When you give your tithes and your offering, you want to be a cheerful giver. When you give, you don't want to give, and you be like, oh, I really don't want to give this. That's not being a cheerful giver. That's why they say, we're going to get to that where it said, do not give grudgingly. You want to be a cheerful giver when you give. And so now we're going to go to Malachi. And I'm going to read it from my book and my New Believers, this New Believers book, when I was in the New Believers class. And it read, we're going to read Malachi chapter 3, 8 through 12. I'm going to read through this verse, and then I'm going to read from the study Bible. What is it saying? Malachi 3 and 8. Will a man rob God? Yes, you have robbed me, but you say, Where have we robbed thee? And tithes and offering. Verse 9, you are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me, even this whole nation. Verse 10, bring ye all the tithes in the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, says the Lord of hosts, if I will not open you the windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Verse 11, and I will rebuke the devourer for your sake, and he shall not destroy the fruit of your ground. Neither shall your vine cast her fruit before the time in the field, said the Lord of hosts. Verse 12, and all nations shall call you blessed, for you shall be a delightsome land, said the Lord of hosts. And that was Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 12. And so now we're going to read the study Bible, what that verse is talking about. So I'm reading chapter 3, verse 8 through 12 from my study Bible, telling you what that verse is talking about. And it reads, the people of Malachi Day ignored God's command to give a tithe of their income to his temple. They may have feared losing what they had worked so hard to get, but in this they misjudged God. Give, and it shall be given unto you, he says. We just read that in Luke chapter 6, verse 38. When we give, we must remember that the blessings God promised are not always material and may not be experienced completely here on earth, but we will certainly receive them in our future life with him. And that's Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 through 12. We just read from the study Bible. And so now we're going to go to 2 Corinthians. We're going to go to 2 Corinthians. We're going to go to 2 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 through 11. Chapter 9. Okay, so I'm going to read through it, and I'm going to read from the study Bible, and it reads, 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6. But this I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Verse 7, every man according as he proposed in his heart, so let him give not grudgingly. Let him give not grudgingly or of the necessity, for God loves a cheerful giver. Verse 8, and God is able to make all grace abound towards you, that you always, having all sufficiency in all things, may abound to every good work. Verse 9, as it is written, he has dispersed abroad, he has given to the poor, his righteousness remains forever. Verse 10, now he that ministers seed to the sower, both minister bread for your food and increase the fruit of your righteousness. And this is the last verse, verse 11, being enriched in everything to all bountifully, which causes through us thanksgiving to God. And now I'm going to read from the study Bible, from my life application study Bible, what that verse is talking about, chapter 9, verse 6 through 11. 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 through 11. And verse 6 through 8, it says, people may hesitate to give generously to God if they worry about having enough money left over to meet their own need. Paul assures the Corinthians that God is able to meet their need. The person who gives only a little will receive only a little in return. Don't let a lack of faith keep you from giving freely and generously. Verse 7, our attitude when we give is more important than the amount we give. We don't have to be embarrassed if we can't give only a small gift. And I'm going to stop right there, because I remember my pastor, he was talking on his, and it was doing a Bible class, and someone asked a question. They said, like, you know how you go to these seminars, You go to these seminars or it's a service and they preach it and they asking for this amount of money an offering. Or we need, who can give 100, who can give 200, who can give this. And I remember my pastor saying it, and I'm so glad that he elaborated on that. I'm so glad he said it. It's because sometimes you feel like, well, I don't have that amount. I don't have $100. I don't have $50. I don't have 200. And I'm so glad my pastor, he said, give what you have. He said, give what you have. He said, don't try to match up with the next person. If that person giving 100, don't try to match up with that person trying to give 100 if you don't have it. He said, give what you have. He said, the Lord see what you have. He see what you can give. So don't feel bad if you can give $100 like the other person, or $200. You know, you can give a large amount of offering. You can't give from your heart. Give from your heart. Be a cheerful giver. You can say, Lord, this is all. Lord, you see, Lord, you know, I'm giving. This is all I have right now. And then, like it said, if you give a little, you will receive a little. So you want to give from your heart, like whatever it is. You know, sometimes if I'm giving an offering and they may ask for $50 or $100, I'm like, I don't have 50. I don't have. I'm gonna give what I have. I'm gonna give. I'm gonna be a cheerful giver. I'm gonna give what I have. I'm not gonna try to match up with that person because I don't have. You know, don't try to match up with that person. Okay. So now we're gonna go back and it says, God is concerned about how we give from the resource we have. So from the resource, like I just stated. And that's why I said I was so glad that my pastor, he elaborated on that. Like, give from the resources you have. This is what you know what you have, and God knows what you have. God knows that. Don't try to go, like the other person, like you said, some people, they do it for their own selfish gain, so, but give from the heart, give from what you have. Don't feel bad if you don't have, like, don't feel bad, y'all. Don't, okay? And so then it goes to say, according to this standard, the giving of the Macedonian churches were difficult to match. Verse 10, God gave us resources to use and invest for him. Paul used this illustration of seed to explain that the resources God gives us are not to be hidden, foolishly devoured, or thrown away. Instead, they should be cultivated in order to produce more crops. When we invest what God has given us in his work, he will provide us with even more to give. So when you give, God will bless you. God will bless you for when you give. Like, and don't like when you get your paycheck, 10% supposed to go. So 10% supposed to go to God. It's supposed to go to God. 10%, like you pay your tax, 10%. So let's say you make $500. $50. That is your 10% supposed to go to God, because God is the one that blesses you. God is the one that bless you with that job. God is the one that's keeping your lights on. God is the one that's keeping food on your table. So 10% goes to God. And you might say, well, how? And there was so many, so many people, they use this, they say this, and they use this line as excuse, and they say, well, I don't want to give my tithe because I don't know what they're doing with the money. Well, my job, there was a student, and she was in 8th grade, and we got on a conversation about church. We were just sharing, she shared to me, and I was telling her that, I'm a Christian, and she was saying, my mom is too. And so we were just talking about church and stuff, and then we got on the subject with, tithes and offering. And then she was like, I don't like, get tithes. She said, because some, you don't know what they doing with the money. Some pastors, they just be spending it on this and that. And so God led me to share my testimony with her, tell her, And so I shared my testimony, and I told her, and I said, not all pastors, mishandle the money. I'm like, my pastor, he don't do that. He's a humble servant of God. He tells us what the money go to. He tells us, when you pay your tithes and offering, hey, we got the roof fixed with that. We did this. We installed this. We got the youth church fixed. He always tell us, so you won't be thinking like, I don't want to give my tithes and offering because I don't know what he doing with the money. My pastor is not one of them pastors, to my knowledge, coming in with fancy cars, flashy cars and all that. He's not one of them pastors. So what you want to do is you want to pray and ask God to lead you to a church. To lead you to a church, or even if you're watching the church on the live screen, you want to pray and ask God to lead you to a church that that's gonna use the money when you pay your tithes, and that's going to use it for a good cause, that you know that's not gonna mishandle your tithes or your offering. So you want to pray and ask God. You know, you might be watching, it might be a church that you've been watching and you really like that church. You know, you might never visit it, but you can pray and ask God, Lord, should I give my tithes to this church? Shall I give my offering to the church? You want to pray and you want to ask God to lead you to that church. Lead you to the church that where you can pay your tithes and pay your offering, because you don't want it to be you don't want to be no excuse when you go before God, and you don't want God to say to you, turn from me, I never knew you, you workers of iniquity. You want to hear, well done, my good and faithful servant. You want to hear that. So that's 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 6 through 11. We just read from the study Bible. And so now I want to go real quick to Genesis. I want to go to Genesis. We're going to go to Genesis. Genesis chapter 14, verse 20. I got two verses coming out of Genesis. So Genesis 14 and 20. And it reads, Abraham gave 1/10 of the body. He gave 1/10 of the boots to Melchizedek. Even in some pagan religion, it was tradition to give 1/10 of one earning to the god. Abraham followed acceptance tradition. However, he refused to take in boots from any king of Sodom, and even though this huge amount would significantly increase what he could have given to God, he chosen to reject it for more important reasons. He didn't want the ungodly king of Sodom to say, I have made Abraham rich. So he didn't want to give his 10% because he didn't want the king. He didn't want the king of Sodom to say, I have made Abraham rich. So he said instead, Abraham wanted him to say, God has made Abraham rich. And this cause, accepting the gift would have focused everyone's attention on Abraham or the king of Sodom rather than on God, the giver of victory. When people look at us, they need to see what God has accomplished in our life. So just like I kept saying, Abraham, you wanted it to be where it's at. When you give, you're not giving to, it's going to God. You're not really, some people, you're not giving to your pastor. You're not giving to your leader. It goes to God. When you give your tithes and offering, your leader, your pastor, they supposed to do things for the house of God. The house of God, like I stated before, like my pastor said, we did this for that. We did this. We did put in a new did construction on the church, you know, whatever they supposed to do things for the house of God. They take the money and they do for the house of God whatever repairs that needs to be fixed in the house of God. That is what you supposed, that the money's supposed to be used for. It's not supposed to be used for, you know, other things. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, maybe if there's something left over, then, you know, maybe they might get something. But you're supposed to give to the house of God first. The house of God supposed to be taken care of first. And so as I was reading, and like he said, Abraham, he wanted to be like, God has made Abraham, you know, God has made Abraham rich. God is first. Okay, it's God. God is first. Above all things, God is first. And so now I want to read to you what that verse is talking about. I'm trying to see, do they got a hold on. Okay, so that's what that was talking about. So it said verse 20. And blessed be the Most High God, which has delivered thy enemies into thy hand, and he gave him tithes of all. So what I just read to you was what I had just read to you. It was telling you what that verse 20 was talking about. And so now we're going to go to chapter 28 in Genesis. Chapter 28 in Genesis, verse 22. And I think this is no, I got one more verse to share with y'all. 28. So chapter 28, verse 22. Genesis 28 and 22. And it reads, and this stone which I have set for a pillar shall be God's house, and all that thou shalt give me, I will surely give the tenth unto thee. And I want to read to you what that verse is talking about. And it says, and I'm reading from my Life Application Study Bible. And it says, was Jacob trying to bargain with God? It is possible that he, in his arrogancy of how to worship and serve God, treated God like a servant who would perform a service for a trip. More likely, Jacob was not bargaining, but pledging his future to God. He may have been saying, in effect, since you have blessed me, I will follow you. Whether Jacob was bargaining or pledging, God bless him, but God also had some difficult lessons for Jacob to learn. And now I want to go to Matthew. I want to go to Matthew real quick, and then we're going to end this. I'm going to go to Matthew. Matthew chapter 25, and we're going to read verse 14 through 23. And this is talking about Jesus tells the parable of the loan money. And it reads, for the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servant and delivered unto them his good. Verse 16, and unto one he gave 5 talents. He gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability, and straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went in trade with the same, and made them other 5 talents. 17, and likewise he that had received 2, he also gained other 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged the earth and hid his talent. So he had 1 talent. All he had was 1 talent, and he went and hid his talent. Instead of taking that talent like the other ones and multiplying and doing something with it, he hid his talent. He hid his talent. And we don't want to be that way with God, with our tithes and offering. We don't want to be that way where we get our paycheck and we just feel like we just had our paycheck and we want to be like, I can give my offering. I can't give my tithes this month. I can't, you don't want to be like that person that hid his talent, because you hid your talent and God see everything. He see that you took your check. He see that you got your check and you just hid and you just say, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You do what you want to do with your check. I'm going to get my hair, my neck. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to go on vacation. And you don't give God his 10%, because it is God who blessed you with the job. It is God the reason why you got that paycheck. It is God, the one who's been helping you on your job, and still you want to take it and you want to just have your paycheck. Like, nah, I can't give nothing right now. I can't. You don't want to be that way. You don't want to be that way. The person he hid his talent. And so now it goes to say, verse 19. After a long time, the Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought other 5 talents. Look at that. He see that? When he multiplied. He multiplied. He brought other 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I gave beside them. Beside he's telling them. So now he's going to the Lord and he said, Lord, you gave me these 5 talents. You gave me these 5 talents, Lord. And he said, beside them, I got, it's 5 more. I got 5, it's 5 more talents came along. Verse 21. His Lord said unto him, well done, thy good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few. I gave you 5 talents. You have been faithful over these 5 talents. Since you've been faithful over these 5 talents, he said, I will make thee ruler over many things. Many things. Like, I will put you in charge over many things. Many things. I will put you in charge over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Verse 22. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents. That's another person. Said, you gave me 2 talents. Look, I gained some more talents. He said, I have received 2 talents, came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. Verse 23. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few. Thou hast been faithful over a few. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. That's what you want to hear. You want to hear. You want to say, Lord, I gave my paycheck. I gave my tithes. I paid my tithes. Not only did I pay my tithes, I gave a little extra. And you want to hear the Lord say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Now enter into the joy of the Lord. And so I do want to go back and we're going to read what that verse is talking about. Chapter 25. And they don't have, I'm going to go to start at verse 21. And it says, I'm reading from my study Bible about verse 21. Jesus is coming back. We know this is true. Does this mean we should quit our jobs in order to serve God? No, it means we are to use our time, talent, and treasure diligently in order to serve God. In order to serve God completely in whatever we do. For a few people, this may mean changing profession. For most of us, it means doing our daily work out of love for God. Verse 24. The last man was thinking only of himself. He hoped to play it safe and protect himself from his hard taskmaster. But he was judged for his self-centeredness. We must not make excuses to avoid doing what God called us to do. If God truly is our master, we must obey willingly. Our time, ability, and money aren't ours in the first place. It don't belong to us in the first place. When we ignore, squandering, or abuse what we are given, we are rebellious and deserve to be punished. And I think that's all, y'all. And I want to go back to, because I think I forgot to share this verse. Let you all know what this verse means. In 2 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 11, I want to read that to you all because I forgot to share with you from the study Bible what that verse means, where it said, be enriched in everything to all bountifulness, which calls through us thanksgiving to God. And what that verse is talking about, it says, in order for generosity to be outward expressed, the heart must be made rich and sincere. Love and compassion for others, giving of ourselves and our possession. Giving of ourselves and our possession result in 1, supplying the needs of poor brothers and sisters. 2, praise and thanksgiving to God. And 3, reciprocal love for those who receive our help. And this is that's all I have for you on the New Beginners Bible Study, Stewardship Tithes and Offering. I pray that you all was blessed by this video. on Stewardship Tithes and Offering. I pray that it blesses you and it helps you, show you in a way, and it encourages you to, don't be afraid, to pay your tithes, pay your tithes, I'll give God his 10%. And when you give your offering, give from the heart. Give what you have. Don't try to match up with the next person. If the other person is giving 100, 200, if you don't have it, God knows what you have. Give from the heart, okay? Don't feel bad if you don't have $100 to give. 200. No, I told you, I shared my story. Give from the heart. Give what you have. So that's all I have for you all. I pray that it blesses you. Until next time, it's your girl Melissa. God bless.